What's up, y'all, and welcome back to the channel. So I ain't gonna waste your time today. I got a video that I hope will help everybody, but especially those of you who may be just getting started in reselling or might have yourself finding issues, trying to navigate your way in this space. And so today we're going to speak about three very, very, very important aspects of reselling, okay? And that's product, price, and platform. Now, you've probably heard different aspects of this conversation on various channels in different ways. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each of those bullet points, if you will, and under those, I'm going to point out three other key elements that are going to help you not only be successful in reselling, but be successful long term. See, the thing is this: a lot of people can find a one-hitter quitter here and there, but can you do this consistently over time? I think what most people realize after they get started is that it's easy to find a banger here and there. You can go here, this Goodwill, this yard sale, maybe a little online arbitrage or retail arbitrage, but eventually things become harder to find. The space and the time in between you finding those very good items and those not so good items, it begins to expand. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off talking about products, okay? And now this should be a no-brainer, right? The name of the game is, if you got a good product and you sell said good product, you should be able to turn a profit, okay? Now that should go without saying. However, a lot of people struggle with this. There's three things that go into finding a good product that you can depend on to make you this type of income that you need to either sustain your lifestyle if you're doing this full time, or to add to any sort of savings or whatever your goals are, okay? And so the three things you want to focus on is niche, product selection, and sourcing strategies. Now, I know what some of y'all might think when I say niche. I'm not necessarily saying that you have to start off niching down into one specific area of reselling, nor am I saying even once you get started that you have to. But what I am saying is that if you're a beginner, get started with things around your house, do whatever you got to do. But the truth of the matter is, the more narrow your focus becomes, because even everything sellers, people who take on the moniker everything seller, they don't necessarily sell everything, nor are they out there looking for everything. They're looking for items that make a profit, but there are certain items that any everything seller would tell you that they just rather stay away from. Nobody in their right mind is going to pass up a very profitable item, but I'm sure there's everything sellers out there that if they came across something that was profitable, depending on that profit, they might still pass it up because they just don't want to deal with those certain items. And so even though they are considered everything sellers, they still have a narrow field of focus and the types of items that they are comfortable handling and dealing with, and the types of items that they have a more vast knowledge base of, because the fact of the matter is you can't learn everything about everything. And so narrow your focus as much as makes sense for what you're trying to do. That's what I would say, and that's what I would mean when I say niche. Now, product selection falls right behind that, because whether you're just going to be looking for anything for a profit, whether you're going to narrow your focus a little bit, you make your money on a buy. You don't make your money on a sell, okay, guys? You make your money on a buy. What type of products do you want to sell? What type of products do you like to sell? I've said this. Many other resellers have said this. One of the best things you can do is source and sell products that you actually like to handle and deal with. I've said 100 times, I don't like clothes. I don't look for clothes. If I came across clothes that were really profitable, I may give it a shot. I may not. I'm probably, most likely, if it was worth it, would just try to flip it to somebody else who actually sells clothes and likes selling clothes. But that's me. And so when you're selecting, you need to be strategic about this. You need to know what you're looking for before you go out there looking for it. Because, and I know it can be hard, especially if you're doing yard sales and this and that, but at least if you started selling around your house, right? And you found some of those things sold fairly well, then you might say to yourself, well, man, let me write this down. And I didn't actually mind, selling that, packing that, shipping that, handling that, whatever. We're going to look for more of this type of item. But then you can begin to do research and you might be able to see where these items can be found at more often. You can go to groups, you can go this and that. It just depends on your sourcing method, which brings me to the third point under this product tenet, which is sourcing strategies. And so your sourcing strategy is going to be very, very important. How are you going to bring in enough items to meet your revenue goals? Well, not just your revenue goals, but your profit goals, because you can have a revenue goal that might not necessarily meet your profit goal if you're not making enough profit per item. And so I would work backwards with my profit goal, and then and whatever that revenue is going to be what it's going to be. As long as I'm meeting my profit, you'll know what type of revenue you need to do once you set your profit goal. And so those are the three things that fall under product, okay? Niche focus, product selection, and sourcing strategies, all right? Those things go into finding a good product, stable product, or products that are going to allow you to sustain your reselling career, to sustain your reselling business, and make this thing worthwhile, right? Because we all going out here, man. We don't just want to be like machines and you want to go out here, you want to have a little fun. And so you have to always be learning. You have to always be learning, always be looking, always be networking. But don't spread yourself thin education wise, right? Sometimes you can try to learn so much. You know how they say jack of all trades, master of none, and you can do fairly well, but you can find yourself getting stuck or even getting burnt out. You know what I mean? All right. So let's go to number 2. All right. So the second thing that you really need to focus on, and a lot of people, this is where they get it wrong at, is price. There's 3 things right here that we're going to talk about when it comes to price and determining what you're actually going to. I mean, a lot of it is more than just looking up comps on eBay and throwing your item up there, right? There's a little bit more to it than that. And so 3 things we're going to look at is negotiation tactics, determining the value, the market value of an item, and pricing strategies, okay? As far as negotiation tactics, that's kind of self-explanatory. If you're not a good negotiator, there are books out there that will help you learn how to negotiate. This is a skill that's going to come in handy more for those of you who go to garage sales, estate sales, and things of that nature. If you go into garage sales and estate sales, you'll be haggling a little bit more. It's not necessarily going to be for the retail and online arbitragers. Definitely not for the wholesalers. You're not really going to negotiate much unless you got a lot of money. When it comes to wholesale and things like that, money determines price for the most part. The more you buy, the cheaper you can get items. And so this goes more for those of you who do those garage sales and estate sales and all of that. Learn how to negotiate. Look, your goal is to get that item as cheap as you can. And I'm not saying you lie to people or whatever, nothing like that. But you see on videos how when people out there in the wild sourcing items and people say, oh, you got over on that. Listen, if the person agrees to sell you an item for a certain price, that's what it is. You ain't under no obligation to give somebody knowledge that they may not possess about how much an item is worth. But that goes back to what I said about, knowing exactly what you want to sell and not necessarily being out there. You got to look up things in a while, but if you can move faster than the next man and already have at least a basic knowledge base, then that's even better. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and you got to look at other items as they come up, right? And so that goes next to determining the value of an item, all right? How do you determine what the value of that item is? Well, one of the things you can do is look up comps, right? You look up comps on eBay, look up comps on Amazon, Poshmark, whatever. See what they're selling for. If it's an item that's collectible and more rare, you may have difficulty finding comps for those types of items. So you can kind of set the market, but there's probably, if you looked up, let's just say, and of course this isn't a collectible, but let's just say my phone was a collectible. No comps on eBay, no comps on Poshmark, none of the, the usual suspects when it comes to platforms. So you may look, if you know what it is, if you know what the item is, you might type into Google what that item is, and maybe some sort of auction will pop up, or somewhere maybe you'll be able to come across a Reddit group or some other type of Facebook group where this item has either sold, or somebody may be able to give you the answer as to what the value is. And so can't do all that when you negotiate. And that's why I said you already got to kind of have a knowledge base, but also that gives you leverage and power over the situation when you are negotiating, because you already kind of know what's going on, you know what you can sell this for, and you won't make that mistake of overpaying on the buy. And so it's important that we determine the value of our items before we purchase. Heck, and even if you buying pallets, or you buying wholesale, you doing retail, it's the same thing, right? You got to know, okay, I'm paying this much for this item. This is how much it's selling on said platform. And what's the minimum I'm willing to take for it, just in case the price drops or tanks, or just in case the item sits longer than I expected. And so what is this inherent value of this item? If it's not really a valuable item, but it has a higher sell through, then you need to get rid of that item and not price it too high. And so you got to listen to the market. You got to watch the market. The market could be one thing one day, and then a month from now, it could be something totally different. Don't be stubborn and hold on to something. We're not in the storage business, we're in the selling business. And so my philosophy has always been to go with the market. I don't hold on to nothing no longer than I need to, okay? And then finally, what is your pricing strategy going to be? Because once you know the value of that item, how are you going to price it? Are you going to price it above market a little bit? Are you going to price it at market? Are you going to undercut people a little bit? It's probably going to depend on what you're trying to get for it, how long you're willing to hold it. Some people got a 30, or not 30, I wish, right? Some people got a 90 to 180 day kind of wait period, right? Where they sell through 90 days to 180 days. That's 3 to 6 months. Some people are okay with waiting a year. Some people are okay with waiting a few years. But I mean, you got to know that, and you have to understand, if I hold on to this item longer, will the value of this item hold? Will it increase, or will it decrease? Because that's very important. If it's an item that's a collectible, it's likely that the value will increase, or if anything, at least hold. But if it's a common item, most likely is that the value of the item will fall, especially if it's something that other people can get and they're going to want to try to sell too. And so a lot of what goes into determining value would be accessibility to that specific type of item. The more accessible it is, the more easier it is to get, the less valuable it's probably going to be, and the more sellers you're going to have trying to sell it. And so it's going to, even if the retail value was higher, the price, the market value of that item as it is currently could tank really, really low. I've seen these cycles over and over again, man, and sometimes it can take 6 months to a year for items value, retail value, its real value, to go back up, because there's just too many sellers selling that item, because it's just easy to get. So that's really important. All right. And now finally, we're going to go over platform. All right. And for those of you who are already selling, you probably have some sort of awareness of at least of most of the big, I call it the big three platforms, right? Walmart, eBay, Amazon. You can throw Poshmark in there, but Poshmark is the smaller of those four. But when it comes to platform, there's three things. You need to know which online marketplace you're going to sell on, and you need to know the guidelines and kind of have a feel for the flow of how things go on that marketplace. Okay. If you're new to a certain marketplace, I would take my time and don't rush. That's typically how people get in trouble. They try to do too much too fast. You end up violating some type of rule and you find yourself in trouble. You also need to know how to optimize your listings. This will be more specifically for eBay. And then finally, customer service. The number one thing, right? Look, honestly, you can take away what I said about everything else, and here's what it boiled down to. Customer service, customer service, customer service. All right. From the moment you buy an item, how you treat that item, how you list that item, how you pack and ship that item, and how you eventually deal with any potential or subsequent issues after the selling of that item. It's all about customer service. And a lack of customer service can either put your account in jeopardy or get you suspended on a platform. Okay. But let's start off with online marketplace. What marketplace are you going to sell on? Because not every item does well on every marketplace. Anybody who's been selling for any amount of time can tell you this, right? You can have an item sitting on eBay forever, throw it up on Amazon, it'll sell. You can have an item sitting up on Amazon forever, throw it up on eBay. Heck, I just had a few different types of items that I had on Amazon that, whatever reason, wasn't moving. Had a good sales history, wasn't selling. I had these ghillie suits, like snipers wearing stuff. Wasn't selling, man. Had a good sales history. I actually was the only seller on there, and I looked at other similar types of ghillie suits and priced mine a couple dollars lower. Still wasn't moving. I put them up on eBay. I sold all of them on eBay. I listed them at $21.99. They all sold for anywhere from about maybe $17.50 up to the full price. I know out of those 5 that sold, I might have sold 1 at full price. The rest was offers. But those prices wasn't that much higher than what I had them priced for on Amazon. I don't think I priced them at $17 on Amazon. I probably had them at about $18, $19.99, somewhere around there. So I didn't even sell one, but they all sold on eBay super fast. And so you just gotta that's why it's good to be able to sell on multiple platforms, because if something's not working out on one, you can say, all right, let me take these down over here, or let me keep them there, but I'll put at least 1 or 2 up on this platform and see if it starts to move. But you also got to know the policies. For the most part, each platform has the same policies, right? Don't sell nothing expired. Don't sell nothing counterfeit. And when it comes to Veros or any IP complaints, it's almost the same type of process for the most part, right? It's almost the same. So just be straight up with people, sell real stuff, not fake counterfeit stuff. And, don't send people with nothing damaged or expired or anything like that. For the most part, that's kind of the gist of it. But now let's talk about once you're on, and this will be more for eBay, because unless you creating your own product on Amazon or Walmart, you really can't do much optimizing of a listing. But on eBay, you have a lot of control over optimization of your listing. And so whether it be item specifics, your title, all of that goes into how fast your item will sell and how much your item will sell for. Because someone who optimizes their listing better than yours can get more money, because yours might not even get shown. Even if you're using promoted listings, yours might not even get shown. And so it's very important that you understand that. And it's very important that you know what types of keywords. People use a lot of dead keywords in their titles. Things like, fast shipping or free shipping, or just irrelevant words. Use words that are going to allow you to rank higher. Don't put nothing like that in your titles. Item specifics. Know which item specifics people might be searching for. Even if you got to do some research on the top listings in the category you're selling in, look at their item specifics and see what they're using. And if because maybe you'll see some that you didn't think about. Maybe somebody added some, because in a lot of listings, you can add your own item specifics. And especially if your item hasn't been selling, you're going to want to do this. Okay. It all starts with images and pictures too. Make sure you take good pictures of your item. Make sure the buyer or potential buyer can see the item for what it really is. No blurriness, no dark shadows, and have as real of a representation of the item and what they will receive as possible. Okay. And so optimization is key. And then finally, customer service again. And I say customer service last, but customer service is first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 10th. Okay. Customer service. The way, and I know I feel like a lot of people don't see customer service on selling online as they do as if you was working in a restaurant or working in a store, like, you know, that face-to-face interaction. However, it's important. It's just as important, and if not more so, because of that that disconnect between customer and seller, where you're both behind the screen. You kind of got to go the extra mile to make a person feel that connection, like you cared about them getting their item, getting it fast, not 3 months later, right? And if there's an issue, that you care about fixing that issue. And so all these things are important, man, but it really just does boil down to customer service. And so that's kind of it. I'm not going to keep make this video much longer. So let's just recap real quick. We went over 3 things that are going to ensure that you have a successful long-term reselling journey, career. I know I like journey, man. I really do. Some people say career, but I like journey. So number 1 is product. Okay. And when it comes to your products, you have to make sure that you have a focus on at least what types of products you want to sell, and have a good solid knowledge base that's going to help you select the right products. Okay. And we talked about that product selection. And once you have a good grip of what type of products you want to sell and how to select those products, what's your sourcing strategy? How are you going to go about getting enough of those products so that you can reach your profit / revenue goals? Second is going to be price. Negotiation techniques. Those of you who do yard sales and estate sales and all of that, determine the value of your item, know what the value is before you even walk up to somebody trying to negotiate. It's going to be hard to negotiate if you don't know what the heck you're talking about. And then what's your pricing strategy going to be? Once you get the item and you acquire it at a price that's comfortable for you, what is your pricing strategy going to be, especially if there's not a lot of data for you to kind of go by and cross-reference. And then finally, platform. What platform are you going to sell on mostly? Everybody has their favorite platform, but also it's always my recommendation to at least be approved to sell on other platforms, because like I said, some items might sit, some items you thought was winners might not be a winner on that platform, but you pop it up on another one and it'll go. And so I don't say spread your wings out on platforms for the sake of spreading yourself thin. I'm saying for the sake of giving yourself options. But you got to have that one platform that you kind of put, you know, I think more of your focus into than any of the others. But the others will give you options for when you either can't sell a certain product on one item, or when you either can't sell a certain product on one platform, or that product just is not moving on that platform. Okay. So look, I hope this video was helpful. Let me know in the comments below, what's some of your pricing strategies, some of your sourcing strategies. What do you think about the state of customer service, especially on eBay? I've been ordering a few items off of eBay lately, and for the most part, I've been getting some pretty good customer service. I think we already know what it's like on Amazon and Walmart's and all that. They kind of don't tolerate bad customer service. But let me know how you run your business in the comments below, and do me a favor, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you're notified next time I upload another one.